Well, Mana gods and goddesses, peace and love. I am the spiritual guide and founder of the House of Enlil, the spiritual movement for unity and peace for all agreeable non-ether beings. I am a master teacher of non-ether science and the ancient Egyptian mystery language. I am the reviver of the AEO, which is the ancient Egyptian order, now being taught in the House of Enlil as the ancient Enlilite order. Our mission is to bring the ways of the order to all agreeable non-ether beings. In our sacred way of life, Kodashania, the symbolism of the seven-headed, ten-horned beast of Leviathan represents a collective entity comprised of powerful nations that oppose the spiritual practices and teachings of non-ether beings. I will explain examples of how these nations have always sought to oppose us as a people, as a culture, and how they have sought to undermine our sacred languages and teachings. Let's start with one, legislation and policy. The governments of these nations have always sought to enact legislation and policies that restrict or suppress the practice of Melanite culture, including limitations on freedom of speech, assembly, and religious expression. Number two, censorship and propaganda. State controlled media and propaganda campaigns seem to vilify us, spreading misinformation and negative stereotypes to discourage adherence to the practices of whatever we're teaching. Number three, surveillance and monitoring. Intelligence agencies and law enforcement may surveil and monitor individuals and Nubian groups associated with non-ether culture, targeting us for scrutiny and potential harassment. Number four, interference with education. Educational institutions may always be pressured or coerced into censoring or omitting references to our cultural teachings from curricula, textbooks, and academic discourse, thereby limiting awareness and understanding of Nubian culture and teaching. Number five, cultural assimilation. Societal pressure and cultural assimilation efforts will almost always seek to erode the use of African-centered languages, such as Nubic, as a sacred language and diminish the significance of any sacred text from our original culture, promoting assimilation into mainstream cultural norms and values. Number six, economic sanctions and discrimination. Economic sanctions and discrimination in the past have always been employed against individuals and businesses associated with us, limiting our opportunities for employment, commerce, and social mobility. Number seven, legal persecution. Legal persecution and harassment of non-ether beings occur through unjust arrests, prosecutions, and incarcerations based on fabricated charges or discriminatory enforcement of laws. These tangible examples illustrate how the political representation of the seven-head, ten-horned beast, Leviathan, as taught in Kodashania, manifests in real-world challenges and opposition. Opposition will be faced by practitioners of Kodashania as well, particularly in the context of our preserving our sacred language, the ancient Egyptian mystery language called Nubic, texts, and spiritual practices in the face of external threats and hostility. Number eight, chaos and disruption. In our sacred Nubian cosmology, Leviathan symbolizes a cosmic force or entity associated with chaos, destruction, and opposition to spiritual enlightenment.